My name is Dillard, and this is my informative speech about women in leadership. Have any of you seen Breaking Bad? Well, if you haven't seen it, the premise is that there is a science teacher, Walter White, who becomes a methamphetamine drug lord, and how it affects his life and his family. And his wife is named Skylar. Walter's character, by the fans, is often described as being brave and smart and inspirational even though his actions were often illegal and resulted in murder. His wife, Skylar, was also a strong character, and she stood up for her beliefs that I think more equal with what we would stand up for. But her character was often described in a negative light by the viewers. Anna Gunn, the character who played Skylar, actually wrote an op-ed for the New York Times. In it, she says, a typical online post complained that Skylar was a shrieking, hypocritical harpy. And then she wonders why the two characters are viewed so differently. Unfortunately, for women like myself who have leadership positions in the workplace, we face unequal perceptions all the time. Just the other day, when I was asked to describe my management style, I said, like a man, without even thinking about what I was saying. I feel it's important for men and women to understand that there are different perceptions about women in the workplace as managers. And I want women to know that there's things they can do to get them taken seriously in the workplace. And I want men to realize that women can manage effectively but differently, rather than just looking for their peers or people who act like they do. So I'm going to talk about ways that women can use communication skills to build respected leadership in the workplace. And these tips are useful for everybody, but I picked them specifically because they seemed harder for women. First is to pick and develop a leadership style that fits you. Second is to build and project confidence in the workplace. And third is how to manage conflict. Obviously, there are different leadership styles that you could pick. Joyce A. Russell with the Washington Post interviewed DreamWorks head of marketing Brenda Freeman. Freeman says, lead in a way that makes you comfortable. Don't lead like your male counterparts or like you think you should lead. My book, Think Communication, describes many different leadership styles. There's autocratic leaders, the super controlling, their way or the highway type. Laissez-faire leaders, they let everybody else do their thing and just pop in and here and there. And democratic leaders, who still make the ultimate decision, but they gather feedback in the process. And honestly, I'm not going to tell you that there's one that's better than the other. You could think, well, autocratic's obviously bad, but consider Miranda, the fictional editor-in-chief of The Devil Wears Prada. She wasn't very popular with her crew, but she was very successful at her career, and she was very comfortable and confident in herself and her style. So the truth is, be true to yourself, and you're going to naturally build that confidence. Which leads me to the next point, the importance of confidence. It's so important in the workplace, but why is it so much harder for women? Katty Kay and Claire Shipman with The Atlantic say that women have a harder time naturally equating success with confidence. Compared with men, women don't consider themselves as ready for promotions, they say. Women predict they'll do worse on tests, and they generally underestimate their abilities. One of the reasons for this is that women are worried about how they're perceived. A study of performance reviews by Kieran Snyder for Fortune magazine says that words like bossy, abrasive, strident, and aggressive are used to describe women's behaviors when they lead. Words like emotional, irrational, describe their behaviors when they object. Snyder adds, abrasive alone is used 17 times to describe 13 different women. So what can you do to help project confidence in the workplace? Kay and Shipman from The Atlantic advise, show expansive body language, have a lower vocal tone, and have a tendency to speak early and often in a calm and relaxed manner. Personally, as a manager, I've struggled with confidence in myself in the workplace. And I'm learning now with the research that I'm not alone, that it's pretty common for women to underestimate themselves. But also with the research, I've learned what I can do and use these verbal and nonverbal cues in order to project confidence better in the workplace. Once you get confidence handled, it's about learning how to handle issues and conflict in the workplace. This also has heavy influence on how you're perceived as a leader and can help you earn respect. Freeman, the DreamWorks executive from earlier, said, "Don't avoid confrontation and conflict. It comes down to how you're perceived." She says, "You don't want to be labeled as the emotional woman. You also don't want to fall on the other end of the spectrum as cold or unfeeling." My textbook, Think Communication, has multiple conflict styles that they talk about. There's avoidance, competition, compromise, accommodation, and collaboration. Most managers champion the compromise approach, but Think Communication recommends collaboration. This promotes constructive conflict, and it comes up with a new creative solution that makes both parties happy without them necessarily having to give anything up. I've also struggled with conflict. Naturally, I tend to be avoidant and accommodating, and so at the workplace, I've had to practice handling conflict in a more professional manner. And I'm not perfect. Sometimes when I'm really stressed out, I tend to fall into being accommodating. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. But at least I know where I need to grow. So I would like to reiterate the importance of finding a leadership style that fits you, the importance of building and keeping confidence by using verbal and nonverbal cues, and learn how to handle conflict in order to earn respect. I'm going to end with a quote from Kay and Shipman from The Atlantic. They say, "Confidence is a belief in one's ability to succeed, a belief that stimulates action. In turn, taking action bolsters one's belief in one's ability to succeed. So confidence accumulates through hard work, through success, and even through failure. The natural result of low self-esteem is inaction. When women hesitate because we aren't sure, we hold ourselves back." And I agree with that. As a woman who's trying harder to be a strong leader in the workplace, I don't need anything holding me back. Thank you.